Nuclear in the 50s and 60s kind of went through this first atomic age, kind of all started at Idaho National Lab, where they built 52 reactors in just a decade or two. Then kind of nuclear slowed down for a number of decades, and they went down to 3 reactors there. And then as of just lately, there's been this kind of resurgence in a bunch of new reactors kind of being planned at Idaho National Lab. That's kind of been the history of research in nuclear, but that first atomic age ended up kind of springing a whole around 400 reactors being built worldwide, mostly water-based. And if you look at kind of the trend and the number of reactors built around the world over time, it was really growing exponentially up until the 80s, roughly speaking. But then it just totally plateaued. It's like really stark plateau. There's a lot of reasons for why that is, but some of them are there was a bit of fear about nuclear, which partly came from uncertainty about the data on how dangerous meltdowns really were or how to handle waste. There's less certainty at that time. To date, there's been like 40,000 years of reactor operational history, and a lot of those questions have been answered. Also, back then, global warming was less of a concern. It's just kind of a different ethos. And so now we have all this new data on the safety of nuclear. We have different kind of social pressures. So there's less fear and less familiarity with the history of nuclear weapons. And there's also more fear about future global warming. We're kind of reaching this new threshold now where nuclear is getting a second look. And people are kind of realizing that actually it's statistically the safest energy source tied with solar and wind. It's also the cleanest energy source tied with solar and wind, but it uses far less resources. And so it's just this kind of fascinating story of the psychology of the look at nuclear over time. And I think we're about to reach a really interesting period over the next few decades.